So today I'm reviewing my favorite season of The Walking Dead, season 6. To me, this is like TV at its best, like the best TV season I've ever seen in my whole life, man. There's season 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's Breaking Bad season 4, and then there's this, man, season 6 of The Walking Dead. Peak TV for me anyway. Yeah, I love this season, man. It's the one I've rewatched the most as well. Yeah, I love to rewatch this one. I'm fine just going straight to this season if I just want to watch one season again and I don't want to start the whole show again. I just go straight to season 6. And every time it's basically a great ride. Yeah. Yeah, I love this season. So I guess I'll just be talking through the whole season basically. And where should we start? So yeah, man, this season. So we get to see Morgan again with Rick, and you know how they are so different at this point from where they started and where they are now. Morgan, he's kind of have this new philosophy of all life is precious. Rick, he's more like basically Shane now, but less. He just doesn't have the crazy, but he's kind of savage like Shane at this point. He's willing to kill if he completely has to. Like he don't care. Yeah. And they're so different at this point. And that line with what Morgan says, I'm a killer, Rick, and so are you. That's a complete lie because Morgan is even a killer at this point. Kill walkers, sure, but humans, hell no. He doesn't do that anymore. And we kind of get later on for why he doesn't kill people anymore. And just look at all these walkers. Like this season has the walkers at their best, man. The most dangerous. Like they're truly a threat in this season, man. For me. They actually make walkers dangerous again. They tried to do it in season 8 with some bullshit big character death, but to me, this is where they was most dangerous. Like seeing this amount of walkers, and then what eventually happens with these walkers. Like, oh my god, it's crazy. We basically find out that there's this group that's leading these walkers to our main characters, and they're trying to steer it away from everyone and from Alexandria. And let's just say things get out of hand. Alright, so let me just, let's see, what comes next. Oh yeah, episode 2, that was a crazy episode. Oh my god, this episode was brutal because it just seems like, you know, a normal day at Alexandria, people are making cookies and stuff, and then they introduce a new character, Enid, who lost her family when she was on the road. Basically, there was a group of walkers that came by and they devoured her family, and then she had to survive on her own, eating tortoises and stuff. But I think they introduced her in season 5, and you meet one and all them, and like I guess Carl's trying to get used to being with kids again that are his age, but he's having a hard time getting along with them because of what he's been through. And I guess Enid's been through the same thing, and I guess one's a bit jealous about that because it seems like he's kind of having a thing with Enid. Yeah. And yeah, we kind of get like a flashback to how Enid got to Alexandria because she was basically on the road eating turtles and stuff, and then she eventually found Alexandria, and I guess they welcomed her in. And I guess when things got bad, she left again, like right now, because basically it seems like everything's just going normal, but then you just see some random crazy looking guy come up and stab just like a lady, and you're just like, what the hell's happening? From how peaceful things looks like it's like some fairy tale land, and then you just see a random guy just stab a woman, and then things just get crazy. And then Carol just puts down her cooking stuff and just gets to work. She kills one of them, gets like an outfit that has the W, because these guys have like a W on their head, because basically the group's called the Wolves, and I guess their goal is to like wipe out whole communities. But eventually when you get to like bigger game, that's not really gonna work out for them, because they don't really have guns. They're more like use melee weapons and knives, and our group have like proper weapons. Some of them. The only thing about the Alexandrians is that they don't know how to defend themselves, and that's why Wicked went a bit. I mean, that's not the full reason why Wicked went crazy in the last season in episode 15. It's because this group doesn't even know how to fight. Like, so if something really bad happens, they won't be able to defend themselves, and I think Wick kind of made a point about that as well. Kind of like what Shane was doing originally, which is crazy, because if you want to survive, you've got to fight through in it. And these Alexandrians, when something really bad happened, they wasn't ready to fight. Most of them got massacred, and then you find out later on, because I kind of forgot about an episode where Morgan runs into, like, is it Owen and stuff, and Daryl, and that's how he brings that's how Morgan gets to Alexandria, because of them two. And I guess something happened where Owen actually left some pictures of Alexandria, so the wolves knew how to find him, and then they just lured the walkers over while also attacking them. So even if they failed, a huge group of walkers would come and devour him anyway. So man, they had to deal with like these people and then a huge bunch of walkers, which is just messed up. And just the way how like the episodes are all taken in like one day, up until episode is like half of the season in one day, and then the other half, like, well, actually it's like half the season and then the premiere episode of the second half, that's all in one day. That's just crazy. I think it's all in one day, or 2-3 days, I'm not sure fully. Yeah, or like the first 5 episodes are in one day. I think that's how it is. Well, episode 4 doesn't really count because that's like a flashback with Morgan, because you kind of find out why he has this new philosophy. But I guess I'll just get to episode 3 in a moment. But man, Cal doesn't hold back. She massacres these people. Morgan, he can kick ass, but he's not going to kill him, and that becomes a problem. So Cal just finishes him off, and she's just looking at him like, why are you not finishing him off? And then I guess the leader, who that's another person who goes to Gotham. Like he plays as Mad Hatter in Gotham. He eventually, I guess, takes Denise, the nurse, who also begins to have like a love interest with Tara. Yeah, like she gets taken, and they're just hiding the whole time until later on, where the walkers come, which we'll get to that. And then episode 3, oh my god, this was the first Walking Dead episode that actually made me proper cry. I mean, I've come close to crying with a lot of these episodes before this point, but when I first seen this episode premiere, I was like, they killed Glenn. Oh my god. And it's basically Nicholas's fault. I mean, he does die in this episode too, but he dies like a coward. He never gets to redeem himself like Gabriel. Because Gabriel, he gets to a point where he redeems himself in this season. Yeah, because I hated Gabriel in the last season. He was my worst character in the entire series. Yeah, but then he completely redeems himself. Mostly anyway, but then later on he's just even better. Like, man. From season 5 to season 6, Gabriel came a long way because I completely hated him, man. But Nicholas, oh my god. He became the new Gabriel, basically, but I mean, he tried. Well, actually, Glenn tried to redeem him. Like, if someone shot me, I'm not gonna give you a chance to redeem yourself. I don't want anything to do with you. But basically, Nicholas said he knew the streets well, and he'd able to know where to go, but he eventually gets confused and then he ends up getting trapped next to a dumpster, and then they get surrounded by walkers. It gets to a point where they have to climb up the dumpster. Yeah. And things just get out of hand from there. Wait, I think I've done like a mistake, because yeah, basically the one top of the dumpster seems like all hope is lost, and then like Nicholas just pulls a gun to his head and says thank you, and then shoots himself, and then Glenn's just like, what the F? Oh my god. And then like, man, Glenn just falls down and it seems like he gets devoured. And when I saw that for the first time, I had tears in my eyes. The first time I literally cried from this show. Oh my god, I was like so shocked. They just killed Glenn? What the F? I was like, what? And then straight when I went on YouTube, people was like, he's alive, and I was like, what? I mean, so I literally cried for Glenn for nothing, because people are saying that he's alive, and then there's people who just accept that he's dead. And then like eventually you get to the point where they reveal that he's alive, and then it just becomes like a classic meme with the dumpster meme. Yeah, because people just use that meme for so long, like for characters to survive, they just go into a dumpster. No. Yeah, and in episode 4, that came afterwards, because I mean, I loved this episode when I first watched it, but at the same time, I was like, is Glenn dead? But I still enjoyed this episode, but that was my main focus, like, is Glenn dead, man? But I definitely enjoyed this episode. Like, this is definitely one of my favourite episodes of the whole show. definitely Morgan's best episode because of this guy Eastman, who kind of teaches him this new philosophy. Because after season 3, and he leaves, I guess, his old home, he basically goes around, killing people, possibly innocent people. But then eventually he tries to kill Eastman, and then that doesn't work because Eastman, he basically has the skills that Morgan eventually gets, because he's like a Ninja Turtle, Donatello, basically. Yeah, he basically gets taught from Donatello. Look, big pies as well. So it's like a huge Ninja Turtles reference in a way. Yeah, with this guy Eastman, because it kind of teaches him a whole new philosophy. He's also a really cool one episode character, because even after this one, this was like, because there's many episodes after this, and even in the spin-off show Fear the Walking Dead, that have like one episode characters, and they try to make them really important in that one episode. And to me, to this day, this is still the best. Yeah, definitely. I mean, second place would probably be like in season 6, episode 1 of Fear the Walking Dead, with the character they have in that. Like, he has a huge purpose, even though I can't remember if that, with what happens later on, like, it still matters. But yeah, that character had a huge purpose in that season of that show. But yeah, Eastman was an important character for Morgan, and developing his character and actually bringing him back to reality instead of going crazy killing people, being worse than Shane basically. Eventually someone was going to kill him, but I mean, Eastman could have killed him. He thought, like, Morgan thought at that moment he was done. Like, I think he was saying kill me as well, but Eastman wanted to spare him. And then he ends up doing errands for Eastman for sparing him and just giving him a chance. But at first, Eastman keeps him locked up until he's able to, get him out of that clear state that he was in. And he eventually, basically trains him. He looks after like some sheep, and he kind of bonds with the sheep and stuff, because it's like, I don't know, it's a way to help him get back to, being a caring person instead of just clear. Yeah. And then when the sheep dies, they even make that sad. Yeah. And then when Eastman gets bit, because I can't remember how it fully goes, why Eastman gets bit. Like, does like Morgan have a fight with him, and then I guess he gets bit by a walker, and then Eastman says that you shouldn't be alone. You need to find people, otherwise it'll probably put him back to the clear mode. And that's what he decides to do, and that's when he finds Wick's people. Well, he finds Aaron and Daryl first, but yeah, because they was looking for people to, yeah. And that's how they do that flashback episode. That was a good episode. As for Maggie, like, she's kind of worried about Glenn because he never came back. So Aaron kind of helps her out to try find Glenn. They end up going in the sewers for like a shortcut because there's so many walkers above. And they kind of go back to the place where Glenn supposedly was, but since there's so many walkers, she's not really sure if he survived or not. But there's not really much she can really do. But at least Aaron tried to help her, and they kind of bond from that. Yeah, and not much else to say from there. Yeah, I mean, we get some other character moments, because a lot of people don't like this episode. This is like the worst episode of the whole season, because like but when you actually think about it, it has some important character moments, like with Diana, Wick, and I guess the son Spencer. I don't like his character, but it does have some important moments for the show. Yeah, and that's why I can still watch this episode instead of skipping it. Yeah. Oh, and episode 6, yeah, when Daryl first meets Dwight, he's not really sure to trust him because of what he tries to do, but he sees that he has people that he wants to basically protect. But he's not like, Daryl's not really sure if he's a good guy or not. So he's having a hard time deciding like if he should trust him. But basically Dwight ends up betraying him anyway, and that's what he basically has to. That's because he didn't really have a choice because of what he went through with Negan. Because basically, Sherry and that girl was basically Negan's wives, which we'll get to Negan anyway. Because it was basically escaping Negan at this point. We don't really know much about Negan until a bit later on, but yeah. And I guess the girl with the Justin Bieber hair ends up dying anyway. Alright, so this is kind of like Diana's last episode, which is, sad, because she actually put a lot of good stuff into Rick, if you know what I mean. Basically, good philosophies and stuff. Kind of like what Herschel did, but to actually want to actually build something, and that's what Diana was trying to do with her husband, but he got killed by Peter, and I guess she tried to do it all on her own, but she kind of viewed as Rick's group to be the ones who could help her build it, and even in her death, like she still had hope in them actually making Alexandria something special. Because I think like she gets bit when and even when she does get bit, she just goes crazy and just shoots a bunch of walkers before she dies, like a badass. Because they try to get her like to her bed, but at that point, it's too late anyway. I mean, she could have also went with them, but she wanted to stay behind and just fight off as much walkers as she could. Yeah. And I think later when it's over, they have to put her down anyway. Yeah. Because with what's about to happen, let's just say things get crazy. Man. And I don't know if I already addressed about Glenn actually surviving, and Enid's the one who finds him in the heads up episode, because she kind of gives him like a drink of water, and then she basically helps Glenn get back to Alexandria, where things are just going crazy. I mean, she already knows how bad things are, and he's got his wife and baby, so he has to get back. Yeah. And okay, let's see what happens. So yeah, oh yeah, this part. So is this in episode 8 or 9? I'm not sure. It's in one of those two episodes, because they eventually get back to Alexandria and have a big assist. Because basically this is the first time we meet the Saviors. Obviously Negan or his lieutenants are not there. I mean, we actually do meet Dwight. Like, that's the first Savior we ever meet, and that's one of his lieutenants. Because there's Simon, Awat, what's the other guy? I mean, I don't know if this guy was one of them. I'm not really sure, because Negan basically has different outposts, and let's just say they're gonna probably go to one of those outposts later on in this season, which we'll get to that. So basically, how Negan works is that he'll let you live if you give him half your shit, basically, and if you don't listen, then there's gonna be consequences. And they basically was gonna possibly kill them if they didn't listen. But since that was like a sly one, and basically like one guy goes with Daryl to get their shit, but then Daryl basically kills the guy and then gets like a flipping RPG and blows them up. Oh, that was so badass when I first seen that. I was like, oh my god, he destroyed them. And there's gonna be some bad stuff from this, but it gets a lot worse from here anyway. Like it gets a lot worse. Yeah. And they just basically go back to Alexandria afterwards, because they know there's going to be a new threat, and I don't think they have any idea about the wolves, what happened. Oh yeah, as for Denise, she was basically with the wolf leader the whole time, helping him get better, because there was something wrong with him too. Because it was actually Morgan who first ran into him? But Morgan blew up his gun. Yeah. I just don't know if I'm getting mixed up with timelines, because I remember a moment where Morgan, kind of confronts these people even before he actually fights them in Alexandria, but he kind of lets the wolf leader live. He doesn't kill anyone, because they try to steal Morgan's stuff, but he lets them live, basically. And I think Morgan kind of does the same thing, and ends up getting Denise. I think that's how it all happened. So consequences for sparing certain people, yeah. But for some reason, he's like, I guess, someone who actually decides to do the right thing by the end, after, because Denise basically helped him because he was in a bad shape, and Denise helped him get better. So when it gets to the point where the walkers basically break into Alexandria, with how they end off episode 7, man, because the way how that ended, I was like, oh god, they're not going to be lucky. And I can't remember if I read the comic up to this point. I'm not really sure when I started reading the comic, because when I saw No Way Out in the comic, oh my god, that was brutal. I mean, spoiler if you haven't read the comic, because Morgan dies in that, and then Jessie and her son, well, the younger one, just basically that whole family gets wiped out. And it mostly goes the same way in this, but I'm just gonna get to the part with what happens with this guy, the wolf leader. So basically, it gets to a point where Denise is in trouble. There's walkers all over the place, and before there was a scene where Eugene's trapped as well, and he's saying help, and we didn't know whose voice that was because was it in episode 5 when we first heard that? I was thinking it was like Glenn, like for a sign that he's still alive, but it was actually Eugene asking for help, and then that's when more people come to help in it. From who heard it, yeah. Because everybody basically gets back to Alexandria to help take out the walkers. But yeah, basically it gets to a point where Denise gets trapped and she's about to die from the walkers, but then, you know, he kind of steps in and saves her. I mean, Carol, she's ready to kill him anyway for everything that's happened because she blames him. I mean, all of this is because of him, really. I mean, they probably eventually would have got to Alexandria, but he basically made it, you know, push forward, and they wasn't ready, man. Like, both of his group attacking them and then the walkers. I mean, that's a lot to take on. I mean, they probably lost a lot of people from all that. But yeah, he basically sacrifices himself to save Denise because I don't know what made him realize that he was in the one the whole time. And I think Morgan was also trying to. I think he was there to also help him get, like, change his mind of how to view things, kind of like what Eastman did with Morgan. Because, you know, Denise already told Morgan about him, or I can't remember, because it's just a bit all over the place how that storyline went anyway, about like if they should kill him or not, because a lot of people had a lot of disopinions on Morgan's viewpoints, like Michonne and all them. Like, they didn't really agree with him not killing anyone, especially when you literally have no choice and people could get hurt if you don't. Yeah. And there's something that later happens at the end of the season where Morgan has to make that choice or a major character will die, which, you know, we'll get to at the end. And yeah, that's basically how things end for him. So what they basically decide to do is use the guts trick to escape. You know, this is like after Diana died, because there was no hope for her anyway, so basically killed some walkers and just put guts all over him. I think Gabriel, he basically helps the baby escape, like Wick's baby, yeah. So this is like a chance for him to redeem himself, and he is able to get the baby to safety, which, you know, that was a huge win for him for his redemption arc, yeah. And what he does also later on in the season, yeah, with when they go to one of those savior outposts, yeah, man, damn, oh, damn, that's what I'm gonna say. But yeah, things basically get out of hand when they get a bit further because the kid starts to freak out. I mean, Carol, from what she said, like, saying that he's gonna die and stuff, that probably also made things worse. Because if Carol was more nice to him, I don't know if, like, things would be different, or to make him feel to be brave instead of saying that he's gonna die. And Carol's really only saying this because she failed so many kids, and, you know, this kid really liked Carol, but she didn't want anything to do with him, and just made him feel scared of the outside world. I mean, he was already scared, but Carol made it even worse. And then, you know, let's just say things don't really go well because the walkers start biting him, and then Jess is just holding on to him, and then she gets bit, and, you know, one's just like, what the hell, man, my whole family is gone. And because basically there was a situation where Wick and Jesse was getting together. One didn't really like that, and, you know, Wick basically killed his father, so he hated Wick. He's been waiting to kill him. And he also had a little fight with Carl earlier on in the season too. So he's just been waiting for the right time to kill Wick. Yeah. And he felt like this was the moment, basically. Yeah. So he decides to try to shoot Wick, but then Michonne basically stabs him in the chest. But then his gun still goes off, but we don't know who it shoots until, yeah, it hits Carl's eye. And it just goes, dead. And, you know, Rick just goes, Carl! With his crying face. I mean, I first seen this scene in the comic anyway, so I kind of knew how this was going to go. I knew that Carl was going to survive unless they did, like, a twist where he actually didn't survive, and I would have been shocked. But yeah, he does survive, but before even Rick knows if he's going to survive, like, he just goes back outside and starts going crazy. He starts killing not zombies, walkers after walkers, and people are literally seeing what he's doing right now instead of just hiding inside, and everyone just comes out and all just kill walkers together, and it does like a clip of each character killing the walkers, and then with the final clip of, you know, Wick killing the last walker. That was amazing. I mean, I remember seeing that in the comic as well. I was like, damn, this is so cool. And when they did it in the TV show, even more cool. Like that's one of the comic scenes that they did way better in the TV show. 100%. Yeah, seeing that come to life, amazing. And then this is when we go to episode 10 with Jesus. Well, 10, 11, because they basically meet Jesus in episode 10. And then we actually find out like Michonne and Rick are also getting together, because this is this like a week or so afterwards. I mean, Cal's kind of happy to see them together, which, you know, Cal's okay. He has like an eye patch now and stuff, so yeah. Well, not like an eye patch, but, you know, bandage on his face for what happened to his eye. But, you know, it's good that he's okay. And he's got a new mum now, yeah. And they meet this guy, Jesus, who tells them that there's basically a bigger world out there. And in episode 11, basically, he takes him to like the hilltop. So that's the first time we get to see the hilltop. When Gregory was in charge, I hated Gregory. Gregory was one of the worst characters, man. Oh my god, he's such a terrible leader. It's like a coward that somehow got in charge. Like, my god. Yeah. I mean, I can tell that Jesus doesn't like him, but without him, the hilltop wouldn't exist, so yeah. What can you do? Because Jesus would definitely be a better leader for Hilltop, yeah. But he's not just going to take something that belongs to Gregory in the first place, so yeah. Because basically they have this problem with the Saviors, and basically Rick says he can take care of it, and then that's when we go into episode 12, because yeah, basically Rick makes a deal with Gregory to take out the Saviors, and that's when, yeah, we get to episode 12, and man, this is the darkest thing, like, the whole group does. I mean, they've had to do so many things to survive. Like, what they did to the cannibals in episode 3, like, they just butchered them, but, I mean, they were cannibals. I mean, they went beyond just killing them, they destroyed them. Where some of the people in the group was just, like, scared of them from that. Yeah. Like, Gabriel and Tyrese, yeah, they was freaked out. So, if Tyrese lived up to this point, there's no way I could see him killing these people in their sleep, because that's what they basically do. They go to the Savior outpost at night time and they basically take out the whole group. Even Glenn kills someone. I also didn't really talk much about Heath's character. Yeah. Yeah, there's not really a character I can say much about in the, you know, the TV version. It's basically the guy who... Does he play as Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton? I don't know if I'm getting the right character, but... Yeah, basically, he didn't really stay in the show for long anyway. Just like season 6, 7, and then he was gone, basically. He came into this show in this season. He was like someone who could do, like, you know, runs to get supplies, like Glenn, so he was kind of useful in that department. Yeah. I think he was kind of with Nicholas at the beginning before everything went to, you know, shit. Yeah. But then they started to separate and stuff, and then, you know what happened with Glenn. And it even said the part where, you know, everyone gets rescued. Because basically Glenn's at a point where he gets surrounded by walkers too, and Maggie's just seeing him getting surrounded, and she's just shouting, Glenn! But then Abraham comes with like a huge gun and just massacres them all down laughing. Oh my god, Abraham, you're the best. Yeah. But yeah, basically here, man, things just get so dark, like... Seeing our group do things like this is stuff I could see Shane doing, like when they killed Otis, like killing that guy who they basically had prisoner, like seeing those kind of things from Shane first, and to the point where they're basically doing things just as bad as what Shane was doing. Yeah, because they really didn't need to do all this. They don't even know this group. I mean, they might have killed innocent people. Who knows? I mean, it's an outpost, so maybe it was just soldiers there, but who knows? You don't even know who you're killing, and if they had a family. And then that music comes on. And it's like my favorite song in the whole series, man. Yeah, to truly sell the scene, man. And then something happens where I think it's Maggie and Carol who get captured by this woman, which I guess we'll get to. Yeah, she's like one of the, you know, bosses of this outpost, I guess. One of the captains. I'll just say that anyway. And they basically have Carol and Maggie hostage. They eventually get to a point where they're able to trick some of the guards and escape and just completely butcher these people. Yeah. And they kind of give a little backstory to her, like this person, yeah. about she was like working with like, I don't know, like some government person, and basically did he, I can't remember who left who for dead, but something like that. Like she literally got to see it all fall down. Like I don't know if it was in Washington or not, but she basically saw like a government completely fall down and just abandon everyone. I mean, she was with the ones who I guess left, so it's not like she was with the ones who got left anyway. So yeah, which is just so messed up. Yeah. But yeah, basically she gets killed by, is it Maggie? I mean, Cal kind of feels bad about killing people at this point. Like, you start to see something like that where she doesn't really. I mean, Maggie, she doesn't care. She's just going crazy, just going. But yeah, Cal was just starting to, realize how many people she's actually killed. Like, because you start to see a list, and it kind of goes to like the last episode as well, of how she's feeling about that. So this is when we see Dwight. This is like episode 14. Yeah. So this is when Dwight kind of comes back as the bad guy, like the definite bad guy. Yeah. Because last time in season, wait, this is the same season anyway, right? Yeah. Because was it episode 6 when he stole like Devil's supplies with Sherry, but then the next, because basically the first time we saw him, he didn't have this burned face, but basically Negan does things to people where if they try to escape or break the rules, like, and it's like they've broke like a huge rule, they basically get like an iron to their face, and it gets basically half of their face gets burned. Yeah. And you actually see one time with someone actually getting their face burned in like season 7, which we'll get to. Yeah. Man, it was so brutal. Because Dwight has to be the one who pins him down or something like that. Yeah. And the same thing literally happened to him. Yeah. And basically, Sherry, his wife, is also Negan's wife. So, because he basically has like multiple wives, like his Henry VIII. Like, oh my god, that was just so messed up. When I first saw it in the comic, I was like, what the hell is this? What? Man, this guy. Like, it's the Playboy Mansion. Yeah. But basically, his reintroduction is he basically kills like a. I mean, in the comic, it was a big character because in the comic, basically, spoiler, Abraham actually died here. Like, he gets like an arrow to the eye, and it goes through like his head as well, the back of his head, and he's still like talking like a huge sentence before he just falls to the ground, which is just crazy. But in the TV show, they make it more realistic. Yeah, even though. What would actually happen if you got shot through the eye and then going through the back of your head? Would you be able to still talk for like a few seconds and then you just fall to the ground, or I don't know? Would you just instantly fall to the ground? I mean, because when this character gets shot, like they don't even get to finish their sentence, what they were saying. Yeah, I mean it's gone through, but they're talking for like just 3 or 4 seconds, then they basically fall to the ground after that. And everyone's just like shocked, which I'm gonna reveal the character who it is, because I forgot to say, like, did Heath and Tara go together? Yeah, because in season 7 you actually see them together. So because they was doing some kind of supply thing, and it was kind of gone for a while. Yeah, and we kind of see what happens with them in the the next season, basically, when things get real bad. Yeah, with all the things they've done to this group, like, yeah, things get real bad, and we all know what happens anyway. So. Because, yeah, if you've already watched the show, then you already know what happens, yeah. But, yeah. So, yeah, basically, Dwight kills Denise, yeah. I'm just going to say it now. Yeah, he kills Denise. She gets the owl to the flipping... Yeah, to the flipping eye. Because basically, I was thinking, like... Because there's a scene where Eugene and Abraham are saying their goodbyes with each other, because they're kind of like in a group together to find something, to find like these bullets and stuff, and actually find them. But then they kind of get ambushed, and they kind of get taken from each other. And it seems like either Eugene or Abraham's gonna die, or probably just Abraham, and he gets his. Well, Abraham's actually hiding. He actually doesn't get captured. It's Eugene who gets captured. And I can't remember if they had an argument beforehand or not. I mean, I remember them having like a touching scene together, or was that basically? I don't know. I think I'm getting mixed up, because I think that's like way more later on, or yeah, I don't know if I'm getting mixed up with that, because I'm not sure if it's an argument at first and then later on, before the season ends, they have like a heartfelt moment with each other. Yeah, I think that's how it goes. Oh yeah, yeah, they definitely had an argument because it made it look like Abraham was gonna let Eugene die. Yeah. But yeah, they basically have to leave after what happened anyway. They was able to get Eugene and escape because they basically had backup to help them. Because if the backup didn't arrive, then who knows what would have happened. Yeah. And then in episode 15, the penultimate episode. Wait, there's not episode 15. This is episode 16. Yeah, 16. I think this is 16, right? Yeah. Because basically Maggie, she starts to feel, ill or something, or maybe she's close to having a baby or her water broke or something. I can't remember the full thing that happened. Like, she was having pains and maybe there was something wrong with the baby. So they tried to, like, get her to the hilltop. Well, somewhere. And basically they start to have these cars coming up everywhere. They try to go different paths, but there's always another car, then another car, then another car, then it gets to the point where you see like a whole army. Like, I'm just like, oh shit, they're screwed. And Simon, like basically Trevor from GTA. Yeah, I liked him more as Simon though. Yeah, Trevor, he's cool and all, but he's a bit much for a main character of a game. Yeah, he's too crazy to be a main character. I mean, he's probably my favourite out of GTA 5, but that's not saying much because I wasn't really a big fan of the characters in GTA 5 and the game in general. I mean, the online was fun. It was nice playing it for the first time, the story mode, but other than that, it's not that great when it comes to the story mode. Yeah, and the online is dead at this point. It's been long dead, and I'm just shocked it's still going. Yeah. But yeah, Simon, oh my god. For his first appearance, man, he makes it memorable. Definitely. We see this guy. He basically had like a whole group, but Simon basically wiped out his whole group because they wasn't listening to, basically giving like half their shit. They tried to fight for what they had, and this guy basically loses his entire group, and then he hands him to scare this group that he's trying to trap, like Wick's group. And it gets to a point where they try to fight and then escape, but then they get surrounded by hundreds of people with like all types of weapons, man. Like because they're trying to carry Maggie out of there because she's in a really bad shape, but things just get too bad. It's like, man, is this the end of the line? What's gonna happen here? I mean, I've seen the comic book version first, but the way how they did it in the show, oh my god, they made it more intense. That's the thing about like TV. If you recapture what the comic did but do it better, oh my god. Yeah, and then the stuff with Negan, man, like seeing him for the first time, oh my god, by Jeffrey D. Morgan, because the first time I seen this actor was in The Watchmen as the comedian. Yeah, I liked him in that movie. I wasn't sure how he was going to play as Negan because he was playing as a character in that movie who was already dead, but we got like flashbacks of him because at the very beginning his character was already dead. Yeah, and we just didn't know who did it, but we get like flashbacks for like clues. And with how he plays the comedian, I could see he could be a good Negan, but I wasn't really sure. And then there was this other actor who definitely looks like Negan, but I've never watched anything he's been in. But yeah, Jeffrey D. Morgan, like for these 10 minutes, these last 10 minutes, like, oh my god, I was like, man, this is Negan come to life. And then there's like a version where he's just saying F-bombs like yeah, man. There's a version where he just says F-bombs, and it kind of sucks that we didn't really get that kind of Negan for the TV show as a whole, like moving forward until the end of the series. But I still loved Negan. He became my favorite character for the rest of the series. After basically from season 7 to now, he's been my favorite character, and we're on the last 3 episodes now, so that's probably never going to change. Yeah. What an introduction! My God. And he did such a good job in this scene. And when it gets to the point where someone gets Lucille and you don't even see, oh my god! And then you have to wait 6 months. And when I got to the final hour, after all those 6 months, I was literally shaking. And when I was watching the episode, man, I'll get to that in my season 7 review, man. Oh my god, the most intense TV moment of my entire life. Yeah. Oh my god. My god, because we was in a situation where a lot of, like, basically most of the huge characters was literally basically at a moment where they could die, and this is the TV show, they could switch it up and they could kill a character that doesn't get killed in the comic, because the TV show's done that sometimes, like with, for example, Carol's daughter. Like, I was shocked when she died, man. Oh my god. I mean, it's kind of hard because I actually watched the TV show first, but even just watching the TV show first, I was shocked. And then reading the comic and knowing she survives, man, imagine if you were someone who read the comic first and then you saw that she died in a TV show. Like, man, that probably would have even been more shocking. Yeah. You'd think she'd be someone that survives. Yeah. But yeah, I guess I'm just going to end it here anyway. That's it for my review of Season 6, my favourite season in TV history and of The Walking Dead. Yep, hope you enjoyed the review. Appreciate if you can give a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one. Peace, guys.